Could be. Okay, is there any other announcements? Well, let's do what we came here for. Um, Met this guy at Burn one night, and I liked him, first time I met him. And he made the mistake of telling me he would give a lead sometime. So I've never heard his story before, and he's a pretty good Joe as far as what I can tell. Here's Mike from, where are you from?
Bluffton.
Bluffton, that's right, that's right. Yeah.
By way of Austin.
By way of Ossian, yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Percival. Today I'm a grateful, sober, and blessed alcoholic. I'd like to thank Leo for inviting me here. When I was down there at the Burn meeting there and heard Gary speak, and I met Gary and Leo and Charlie and a couple other people. I can't remember names right off the bat, but anyway, I was really impressed with Gary's story, and because even though he got sober a lot quicker than I did, because he got sober when I was just hitting my stride. So it, but anyway, he was talking about that he drank alcoholically, and I thought to myself, from the get-go, I did. My sobriety date is December 16th, 2001. My home group is Daily Reflection Group in Bluffton. We have 2 meetings. We also have a meeting that George kind of oversees, the wheelbarrow group. That's on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. And my Wednesday meeting is at 7 o'clock, and at Epworth Methodist there in Bluffton. And we have a Saturday morning meeting. And so I kind of run kind of in charge of it, I don't know, but I have a lot of good people helping me out. But one of the things I wanted to do, I retired back in May of 2020, is that I wanted to do more speaking. I believe God has called me to tell my story and share my experience, strength, and hope, so that others can learn from my mistakes and be a part of my successes. If that can do anything to help a suffering alcoholic, my sponsor, George there, that was one of the things he says, if you want to stay sober, he said, work with an alcoholic, And I've got a sponsor sitting there. And so we've got 3 generations right here. If Dave Ward was here, you'd have 4. So he's my grand sponsor. I grew up in a small town west of Bluffton, Markle, Indiana. It's on the Wabash River, and spent the first 6 years of my life just south of there, and just a rural area. My dad run construction and was crane operator, and then became a truck driver. And my mother, we had 5 kids, so she pretty much had her hands full right there. I'm the middle child of the 5, and older brother, older sister, and 2 younger sisters. No alcoholism in my family that I knew of or anything like that. My folks, they'd have parties, house parties and stuff. And we moved into Markle in '68. We lived north of Markle there from '60 to '68, and I graduated in '72. So I was in my teenage years in Markle, living in Markle there, and I played ball there. I'd ride my bicycle into town from the north of town, and we'd swim all day. Markle's got a fabulous park. If you ever get a chance to get over there, you can spend a whole day just at the park there, swimming and picnicking and playgrounds and the whole 9 yards. For a small town of less than 1,000 people, not too many parks like it. So we had Boy Scouts, and so I was all part of that. Made it up to Life Scout until I discovered there was girls. So it kind of took precedent, and so I didn't make it to Eagle. My brother did, but that's another story. But he went on to spend 18 years in the Army. But anyway, you know, at the house parties and stuff, I'd take a drink, and now and then, from somebody wasn't looking, or Dad. I don't know if anybody remembers what was it, the Schlitz little kegs that you put in the refrigerator. Every once in a while, tap one of them out on, in a glass, and so probably 8, 9, 10, something like that, and it didn't taste that bad. It really didn't. So I didn't. Some people say that they don't like the taste of beer. I like the taste of beer. In fact, the hoppier the better. Um, my favorite was Guinness, but it got a little expensive, so I just decided to, once I got into drinking, that Budweiser was my beer of choice. But anyway, in a small town, there was a bunch of guys, all about the same age. And I was one of them, and you know, we'd get bored. So we were at that age, in our early teens, and the older guys that we looked up to, they had the hot rods and so on and so forth, and we were still out there peddling our Schwinn's before we got our licenses, and we we'd have somebody that would buy some beer for us. So uh, and like I alluded to earlier, that what Gary said, that from the beginning I drank alcoholically. I didn't drink to just get that warm fuzzy feeling. I drank to get drunk. Uh, Now there was a lot of times where I didn't accomplish that. A lot of times, more times than not. I couldn't accomplish that getting drunk. But being left to my own devices, I would have. Um, so I graduate high school, and I met a girl the following year, uh, whom I married, still married to. We just celebrated 49 years of marriage here a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, she hung in there with me, bless her heart. But she's one of us also. Uh, we got married the following 1975, and in 1976 we had our first daughter, and in 1977 we had our second daughter. And I'm also the grandfather of two daughters too, so they're granddaughters. But I wasn't drinking every day. I worked in the wire dye industry for a few years, and then I became an apprentice tool and die maker in 1978, and took my apprenticeship, and uh, things got a little testy as far as, what I'd say, nerve-wise, and doing the job and everything, because anybody knows anything about tool and die, you're working with pretty close tolerances and stuff. So you walk out of the shop at the end of the day, it just felt like you had bees in your head. So, but lucky enough, there was a bar just down to the corner, and if I went on farther, there was a carry out. So it got to be the fact that I stop and grab a 12 pack, 6 pack, didn't matter, but I drank a few of them on the way home. But I was also a pot smoker. I liked my pot, and so I'd roll a joint up in the morning, smoke half of it on the way to the work, and then smoke the other half on the way home there. And before I'd stop at the tavern there in Ossian and have a few more. That didn't start happening until later on in 1980. We moved into Ossian, and we lived out on our dad's farm from the time we were married. And we had a mobile home out there, and her dad and mom lived in Aussie in there. But anyway, we moved into Aussie in there, and just so happened the house we bought was probably less than 100 yards from the back door of the Aussian Tavern. So that made things real convenient. So it got to the point to where, come Thursday night actually started the weekends. And, we tried to keep things under control, and we pretty much did too. But, we still had our daughters and stuff, and it wasn't like we were just living alone. But there was more than one time where they probably got up and seen a buddy or two cashed out on the sofa or something like that when they wanted to watch cartoons on a Saturday morning. So, but we just didn't think that too much about it. Now there was times there that my father-in-law especially, I loved my father-in-law. My father-in-law was just like having another dad, and I love my dad also, and both my parents. I mean, considering raising 5 kids, and back in those days, money was pretty tight. We always had clothes on our back, and food in our bellies, and a roof over our heads, and a lot of love. And that's one of my biggest, uh, I guess, regrets is that maybe over the course of time that I didn't express my appreciation for that love and understanding and stuff. So being a middle child's a little difficult. I don't know if anybody is a middle child, of a larger family, but you got to kind of put yourself out there in order to get noticed. And so I was kind of a comedian, and anytime I could make my mom laugh, that was a good day for me. But my father-in-law had mentioned a time or two. He said, "Mike, you might want to slow down," and I would. I respected what he said, and I would slow down. Uh, but then I just pick it back up again. We all know this is a progressive disease. Uh, I didn't know it at that time. If you'd have said, "Mike, do you think you're an alcoholic?" I'd have looked at you in utter, you know, astoundment, amazement. No, the alcoholic's the guy that's underneath the bridge, or the guy that's 9 o'clock in the morning when the bar opens or whatever, and taking his first shot of the day, his hands shaking. That's an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. You couldn't have told me I was an alcoholic. But anyway, like I said, it just kind of went that way, slow and easy. There was times that it, with my wife and stuff, and even though she drank too, but there would be times that would, went both ways. I'd get mad at her for doing it, and she'd get mad at me for doing it. So I suppose if you was to look at codependency, we were we were probably as big a we were probably the dictionary picture there. But anyway, we survived. Uh, Now in 1990, we girls were through grade school, going into middle school, and so we built a home out or on her dad's ground, East Ossian there, and moved in there in March of '90. Be there 34 years here this next month, and so it was just progressive. I was to the point to where I was every night at the tavern, and Deb would call, say your supper's waiting. I said, oh, I'll be there in a little bit, or something like that, or oh, somebody just showed up and they want to buy me a beer. There was always an excuse. So about 9, 10 o'clock, I'd get home. Dinner was cold and whatnot, and in the refrigerator, and she was in bed. She worked also. It was a wonder that I could keep a job just from the standpoint of not getting enough sleep. And then I farmed also with my father-in-law. We farmed 140 acres. He works in town, and I, works in town also. And so, come harvest and planting seasons, those were short days, or long days, but short nights. But it kept me in used cars. Anyway, I get my first DUI. I went all this time without getting a DUI. That in itself is amazing because it didn't bother me to drink and drive. I didn't black out that much. There was a couple times where it was pretty gray. I wouldn't know if it was blackout, but it was pretty gray. But there was one time that I ended up down in Red Key for some ungodly reason. But I just got like to get out there and drive. It'd be daylight, night, didn't matter. I just like to drive. So anyway, I get my first DUI about a mile from home. And my infraction was that this is county road, mind you, that I was driving to the left of the center. County roads kind of go like that. But anyway, I blew .08. Okay, caught me dead to rights. So this was probably a Thursday or something like that. So following Monday, I go to court and pled guilty. I mean, first offense, what's worse going to happen to me? So, it had the obligatory loss of license, and they give me 6 days or 5 days work release, 6 days work release. So I went in on a Sunday night, and just so happened that Monday was my birthday. It was Monday, March the 9th. And so Thursday night after I got back to jail from work, they cut my bracelet off, and so they said just, you don't have to come back in, just go on home then on Friday. So I did, and excuse me. So I go on home, and my oldest daughter's there, Amber, and her friend Adriana, and they were getting ready to go to a lock-in at Norwell High School. They were both junior varsity cheerleaders, and their friend who was a varsity cheerleader I think she might have been another year older, was coming over to pick them up, and then they were going on over. So anyway, Tommy shows up, and so I give Amber a kiss and a crack on the fanny, and off they go. So I go ahead and get in the shower, and my wife comes home in the meantime. I'm out of the shower, and she says, boy, there's a bunch of lights. I said, oh, yeah, I heard the siren go by. Now, mind you, we're out 2.5 miles out east of Aussie, and so it's pretty rural out there. I said, yeah. She said, I got a funny feeling. Well, I told her, that they'd taken off and everything. She says, I just got a funny feeling. Talk about a mother's intuition, and that's what it was. So she goes down to the corner there on 600, and she comes back and she says, I went by there and there'd been an accident. She says I couldn't really, because it was just dark. She says there was, quite a bit of activity around there. And so she comes back in, and in the meantime, we hear a helicopter. And so about that time, things just started happening. We got a call from my sister-in-law. She had a police scanner, and she told us that there'd been an accident out our way, that she didn't know much about it. And then our neighbor, who was a police auxiliary, Coons Melching, he come in or come our back door there through the garage, and knocked on the door, and he told us that Amber'd been in an accident out the corner there, because he just lives just back this way from the corner. So anyway, my sister-in-law comes back again. That had been on police scanner, so she said, I'm on my way out, and I'm gonna pick you and Debbie up, and we're heading to Fort Wayne. They took her to Parkview, And so we get up there, and the whole time that we're up there, I'm just getting that numb feeling, looking out the window and just praying, praying as hard as I've ever prayed that she'd be all right. We got there, and they told us that she'd passed en route. So we go in and say our goodbyes, and my mom and dad, it just amazes me, how something like that, it just gets out there, and people are there to support you, and it just blows your mind. My mom and dad were there, her mom and dad were there, uh, friends, neighbors, I saw mom, and I lost it. So, we had to do what we had to do, and it still amazes me that we held up as well as we did. Uh, the funeral, uh, the outpouring of all the community. It's a small community, and there being cheerleaders, and not to mention the previous October there was 3 other students that were killed when a train hit them there in Austin, and lo and behold, one of the children was the grandson of our next door neighbor. Some of you old timers might remember Jack Barnes. Jack Barnes, Jack and Mary were our next door neighbors. And, so it was just weird, WPTA wanted to interview people as they were coming in, and to the funeral home and stuff, and I said, absolutely not. I said, if you want to photograph, from the outside, I can't stop you from doing that, but no. Anyway, somehow we got through it. We had the funeral at church, and going down to sit down there, Deb's legs give out a little bit, time or two, and anyway, we got through it. We didn't have any choice, I didn't drink. God, I wanted to. I did. I wanted to. But for some reason, I just said, well, I got to be the rock. I got to be there for everybody. And I tried to be, but over the course of time, after things settled down, I was just lost. It was like somebody just ripped a chunk of my heart out. But that wasn't the only reason. I was also missing my best friend, and that was that beer. So anyway, I stayed sober for, I only had to do probation for a year, but somehow I was managed to stay sober another 6 months. I sitting in the Austin Tavern there with a real good friend of mine, and he was having a beer, and I was drinking a 7-Up, and after a while that 7-Up just didn't taste right, so I put the 7-Up. Reed asked, you want another 7-Up? And I said, no, I think I'll have a Budweiser. Jeff looks at me and said, you sure? Oh, I said, yeah, it's been 18 months. He says, okay. He says, I can't stop you. He didn't, and I didn't. And away I went. I was, within a couple of weeks, I was back drinking daily, doing the same shit I was doing beforehand. This goes on for 9 years. 9 years. Like I said, in the meantime, Deb had got sober and was working the steps and everything. And of course, I thought I knew everything too, and I had no idea what Alcoholics Anonymous was or anything like that. But, you know, but I was the know-all, be-all. You know, I practiced the 7 deadly sins, and of course, we all know pride leads the way. Anyway, we somehow we stayed together. Like I said, we were as codependent as they come, still are, but I love her dearly. And I went to was over to Jack and Mary's and rolled in their yard and everything on an April, and then I was going to go up to I belonged to the golf club there at the 296 Legion League, and so they had their opening meeting and everything. So I've been drinking beer all day. Drank beer when I was there, and then on the way back I was coming down Tealy Road, and at the county line it just kind of makes a jog. Well, I was kind of going a little faster than I ought to have been. I didn't make the jog and ended up taking out a pole and going to jail, basically what it amounted to. But the thing that I remember distinctly is that after I was out there and walking around to see how bad the truck was, a 4Runner, and and a minivan pulled up, and there's poles down over the road, so he couldn't go any further. And I saw somebody slid the door back, and there was a bunch of children in there. And that's always stuck in my mind because eventually that's one of the reasons that I finally did get sober. So anyway, I didn't do any jail time. No, I just did 190 some hours of community service, and then of course loss of license, probation, and then probation, and said that I ought to go to Park Center. So I did 16 weeks Park Center. Park Center says, well, you probably ought to go to AA. So I go to AA. Now all along here I'm thinking I'm going to play their damn game and just go back to doing what I was doing. And so first AA meeting, and there's this white-haired old guy sitting there, and he welcomes me. Was your hair white then? Yeah, it was kind of blondish, wasn't it?
It was thinking about it.
But anyway, he shakes his hand and says, I'm George, and I said, I'm Mike, and he says, welcome. He said, have a seat. So these first few meetings, I'm kind of sitting on my hands and, you know, just kind of getting the idea how things are working in the meeting, and so I'm hearing all these things and all these slogans, and it didn't strike me as weird or anything like that, and in my thinking that I'm thinking that, well, you know, a lot of this has got merit, you know. So anyway, but on down the road, George had me chairing meetings, and man, I'm gonna tell you what, going home and stuff, even after a meeting, that urge, that compulsion would be so overwhelming. I'd stop and save on there, get a 6-pack, have half of it gone by the time I got home, and drink the other half after I got home. Wife knew, God knew, Georgia didn't have a clue. And I did this for quite a while, because I started there in August, I believe it was. So December 16th, thereabouts, I was there at a buddy of mine's house. I was drinking pop, and then the pop didn't taste good anymore, so I started drinking beer. Well, I drank them out of beer. We were watching football and stuff like that. And so after the beer was gone, then he uncorked a bottle of Knob Creek. No, I'm no whiskey drinker. Anyway, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. They drunk my dead ass home. And I don't know if they're sober enough to drive, probably not, but I sure wasn't. So anyway, next morning I get up, get in the shower, 5 o'clock in the morning, so I didn't have much sleep, and I was still drunk. I hit the shower there, pass right out. I don't, for the life of me, I don't, well, Deb didn't wake up, evidently she was a silent sleeper then, so. But anyway, I come to and get out of the shower, dripping wet, sit on the edge of the bed, cried like a baby, and I asked God to help me. That was the last drink I had. Now, I didn't fess up to all my transgressions there to George for another 6 months, or the group. So I was in limbo. That's the thing about pride, is that it'll make you not do the things that you should do. Thank you. And so I just every morning I'm going to have to look in the mirror, and I'm going to have to tell him. I'm going to have to tell him we're doing step work at the same time, and and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I just could not do it because, face it, I'm perfect.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out.
And but anyway, that word humility just kind of wasn't in my dictionary. But it finally come to be that I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't bear the burden of hanging on to that. And I dumped it on him when we were doing step work, and it just so happened that the guy that we were working, he was working with also, did the same thing. So we give him both barrels. And he just shook his head and said, well, looks like we better go back to step 4. And we did. And we did. We worked the steps to the best of our ability. And I continue to work them today when I sponsor. The fellowship, the program, has given me a life that I never knew existed. It's a life of happiness. It's a life of serenity, like it tells us, when we say that serenity prayer. But you know where the true joy is? True joy is standing up here and talking to you folks and sharing my experience, strength, and hope. Leo, when he asked me to speak here tonight, he said, I can't find anybody to speak. He said, but you gave your name. And I said, yeah, I'll speak. If you get a chance, if anybody asks you, by all means, just shake it off, and get up here and tell your story. If it doesn't last 15 minutes, but you're saying things that somebody else might need to hear.
Thank you.
And not to mention that you get to talk about yourself. I mean, what could be better than that?
We need to work on that, George.
But I like to keep it a little light here, because when I was talking about the death of our daughter, that can get a little heavy, and so I kind of like to have a little brevity in there to temper things out. But when Gary was talking down there at Burn, and then Leo talked about, and then Ron, Leo's sponsor, and I heard those, 3, and then knowing how many years of sobriety it was just with those 3 individuals, and to give back and to have those people as examples. I think that's what struck me so much about you guys, is that you're living that life. And that's what I want to continue to do too, is to live that life. You know, that program, there's two parts to Alcoholics Anonymous. There's the fellowship, and that's all of us around here at these tables. And then there's the program. That's the 12 steps. It's a program for living. We all work it to the best of our own abilities. But the main thing is that we continue to work it. We continue to give back to which has been so freely given us. I wouldn't be up here if George saw something in me that I didn't know I had. But he saw it. And he didn't know me from Adam when I first met him. But that's what this program teaches us, is that, you know, when somebody reaches out for help, I want the hand of AA always to be there. And I take that to heart. I always like working in the trenches, I like to say, is that, you know, working with other alcoholics. But we had our District 75 person, committee member, Denise H., coming into our meeting one time and wanted to start organizing District 75. And so we'd never had a GSR that I could remember. So I decided to become a GSR. Figured I got some time and not working and everything, so, and that maybe doing some speaking. So to give back, and I really, really want to continue to. So as long as I've got my health and I'm able to either speak or work with other alcoholics, I'm going to continue to do it. It enriches my life. And the reason I do it is one of the same reasons that I drank, because it made me feel good. And giving back, working with other alcoholics, makes me feel good. Not only that, I think I owe the fellowship and God, you know, for bringing me to where I am today. And before I leave you all, I've got a little something. This is an essay that I read it a long time ago, and it's one of my favorite essays. If you just bear with me, I think I got enough time here. God, in His wisdom, selected this group of men and women to be purveyors of His goodness. In selecting them, though, through whom to bring about this phenomenon, He went not to the proud, the mighty, the famous, or the brilliant. He went instead to the humble, to the sick, to the unfortunate. He went right to the drunkard. The so-called weakling of the world, well might He have said unto us, unto your weak and feeble hands I have entrusted a power beyond estimate. To you has been given that which has been denied to the most learned of your fellows, not to the scientists or the statesmen, not to wives or mothers, not even to my priests or ministers have I given this gift of healing other alcoholics, which I entrust to you. It must be used unselfishly. It carries with it grave responsibility. No day can be too long. No demands upon your time can be too urgent. No case be too pitiful. No task too hard. No effort too great. It must be used with tolerance, for I have restricted its application to no race, no creed, and no denomination. Personal criticism you must expect. Lack of appreciation will be common. Ridicule will be your lot. Your motives will be misjudged. You must be prepared for adversity, for what men call adversity is the ladder you must use to ascend the rungs towards spiritual perfection. And remember, in the exercise of this power, I shall not exact from you beyond your capabilities. You are not selected because of exceptional talents, and be careful always, if success attends your efforts, not to ascribe to personal superiority that to which you can lay claim only by virtue of my gift. If I had wanted learned men to accomplish this mission, the power would have been entrusted to the physicians and scientists. If I had wanted eloquent men, there would have been many anxious for the assignment. For talk is the easiest used of all talents for which I have endowed mankind. If I had wanted scholarly men, the world is filled with better qualified men than you who would be available. You were selected because you have been the outcasts of the world, and your long experience as drunkards has made or should make you humbly alert to the cries of distress that come from the lonely hearts of alcoholics everywhere. Keep ever in mind the admission you made on the day of your profession in AA, namely that you are powerless, and that it was only with your willingness to turn your life and will unto my keeping that relief came to you. Anonymous. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Where is that thing? Oh, yeah. Piece of paper for you. Thank you. They say you can buy a cup of coffee with that. I don't know. Try it.
I'll put it out there with the ones from Decatur.
All right. Okay, very, very good lead. Gary always says you don't know anybody till you hear their lead. I agree with that. We had a lot of things in common. I had two daughters, never had the unfortunate thing that you went through. I don't wish that. Me and Charlie talk about that a lot. It'd be hard to handle. But that to lose a loved one like that'd be tough. And that's part of life, I guess. And we had a lot in common. Heck, you, like I said, you had raised, what, 2 children? Two, yeah, me and the wife had 2, and I'd pick up extra money farming. Always enjoyed that stuff. Always enjoyed being outside. And I think I graduated in 72, same age. And a little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's customary to pass it around. Anybody wants to feed him a line, go ahead.
Yeah. They probably heard all of them. Hey, I'm an alcoholic, I'm still George.
George.
The day of reflection talked about paradoxes, I agreed to be Mike's sponsor because I'm supposed to give it away, but I got it back tenfold. My first 2 sponsorees ended up in jail, so you've done a good job, Mike. We've been truly blessed to have him in our lives, and the amount of people that he's been able to help in Bluffton, Wells County. Now he's branching out into Ohio, so look out.
Good deal.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
I'm Tom Alcoholic.
Tom.
One thing, I never heard it put the way you did. You only work the steps when you're working with somebody else. I really like the way you said that. I'm gonna remember that. Thanks.
Tom.
Commercial alcoholic.
Richard.
Well, Mike, we got some things in common. I lost my daughter in 2020, except for I was already sober when I lost her. And I remember, and I tell the story a lot, it comes to my mind a lot, and I finally remember what he said, but, or I finally learned what he said. But I went to, the afternoon I found out, the first thing I did was call my ride to the meeting that day, make sure we were still going. It was a Monday night, and we went to the meeting. There was a guy there, I think I've seen him one time since. I believe he was put there by God and sit there again to check on me. But he shared the same night that night that he had lost a daughter as well. This is the night that I found out that my daughter passed away. We knew she was sick. She had pulmonary hypertension, which has to do with her blood pressure and stuff like that. And apparently she needed a lot of fresh vegetables and stuff for the last few years of her life and everything. And fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know which, I didn't have to go through the funeral process with her because, me and my estranged ex-wife, weren't on speaking terms at the time. She did tell me, but, the only reason that she told me is because she needed my, VA benefits to get her buried, and she is buried in a veterans, cemetery, which is, that's worth joining the Marine Corps to begin with, just to get her, get her buried and stuff like that, so, a little distracted tonight, but, once I heard that part of the lead, I really paid attention, and thanks, it was a really good lead. I'll pass.
Thank you.
Richard.
I'm Gary Rockall.
Hello, Gary.
Thank you for a good lead, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just amazed how we've worked this program together. Yeah. And that's the way it works. Like the reading said in the Reflections of Paradox, to keep it, we gotta give it away. It's a gift.
Yes, it is.
It's priceless. Thank you for being my friend, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you for leading.
Gary.
I'm Steve Gripple, Silver Alcoholics.
Hey, Steve.
Thank you for being my friend, I love you, and, my heart goes out every time I hear that story. And, I suffered a different kind of loss. My wife passed away coming up on 33 years ago, so, I understand. Yeah, so, I understand that loss, and for 3.5 years after she passed away, I did the poor me's too. Poor me, poor me, poor me, another one. And if you lost what I lost, you drink too. And all those freaking excuses I used just so I could get drunk. Unbelievable. Thanks, man.
Well,
Thanks, Steve.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm an alcoholic.
Ryan.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate everything you do for me. You're a hero to me. And I'm not a superhero.
easy.
But
That
you
pedal
lead,
still
you
gets
lead
a
by
little high
example,
there.
and I want what you got.
He's
So
got to
I'm
drive
gonna
us
keep
back.
coming back, and I'm gonna listen.
He's got to drive us home yet.
Yeah. But thank you. I love you.
Love you too.
My name's Marvin, I'm an alcoholic.
Marvin.
So, I got home from work and, we had some things happen today with some of our loved ones and, my wife said, maybe I'll just go to a meeting and I said, I think you're right and I'm really glad I did. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Rockall, congratulate Joey on his 5-month token.
Yeah.
Keep coming back, Joey. So,
Anybody else? Okay, let's pray to the. Hey, you go for it, Peter.
Good nonetheless.
You say you're hard to get along with. Oh.
Mike, you want to?
Who loved us when we could not love ourselves?
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Keep coming back. It works when you work it.
Everybody's got court stay.
How you doing, buddy?
That's what they have, probably loaded at the same place they got the Joe and Charlie case.
Those are new tapes.
Oh, okay.
Beaner, puppet eater.
Richard.
What's up, Beaner? That's Richard. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Glad to see you.
This is exactly what I'm going
How you
through.
doing?
Stranger.
Hello. Except being part of the growing
How you doing? My name's Mike.
Mike, how are you?
Good to see you.
Indian Lake.
Huh?
How you doing?
Mike, good.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Oh, yeah?
Your sister too,
Paul.
How you doing?
No.
I know the faces, I don't know names.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Hey, I seen you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
My age, I can't do it.
Does all that a long time ago.
Are you a Dodgers fan?
I am.
You got Deb's number, don't you?
Only again today.
Lucky you.
What was it?
Richard.
Hey, that's
They
what
won again today. It's just preseason, but they have them on TV, so I watch it.
Paul, you said?
Yes, sir.
Mike, how you doing?
Gotta have it, I guess. I think it's too long, actually.
It is.
32 days. Hi, I'm Ryan. I seen you a couple weeks ago, but I'll forget. I don't see you like continuous. Yeah, I'm disappointed in the Cubs. We thought maybe we had it big time, yeah. We thought we had a shot at Otani, but cheapskate owner and GM.
Hey, man, it's coming back. See ya.
Have you been a Dodgers fan for a while?
Yeah.
Fisherman.
So,
Yeah. As long as I can remember.
Yeah, talk to you.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
You know, that's what I was gonna talk,
we can't get Bellinger.
somebody tomorrow morning, you need to see if,
Well, still South State.
It's no baseball.
Well, it was last year, we had a good year.
But I have
Guys,
the
yeah.
feeling that, I think she
At least
started
one.
grab.
One that was really bad, one was alright.
So I don't
He was
know
still
if
an
you
all-star
know,
in the second year,
you know,
but
about that later, and I think she's been gets up awful early, I know, so I don't know if that's gonna work or not. I had talked to Joe about it over there, but, I've never heard this girl before, but like you said, she may, that may be just too early. She's looking at, you gave not too long ago there, didn't you?
We gotta show you a picture of big enough to see. Well, a couple of weeks before you talked up,
Oh, uh-huh. Oh, yeah, I was looking for, that's right, it was the first of the month, and I was sitting.
I got a bunch of flowers underneath it. They're probably
how's Steve doing?
We're done good, but I heard you.
Pretty good.
very, they were, I was trying to.
Let's get down.
They were
77 years. 37 years.
You've heard of Ryan before?
13, I was gonna say, Friday, I went to 32.
That's an older picture. My wife hated it, I still have it. I'm trying to change
Here's
it.
some of their,
Yeah, we heard, were you here when he talked about it? Yeah, he's in my wing.
Hey, Mike, okay, how are you? Richard.
Hey.
Ryan?
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you back now, buddy.
George. George, I'm sorry.
Hey, Mike, good to see you, sir.
See you too. Hey, Joe. What was your name?
Anna.
Anna, okay.
I live.
Hi, Jerry. Yeah. It's slow, yeah. You know, Wes.
not too much.
No?
Where you know?
Want to do cold?
Yeah. Already feel it.
I don't like that. Good old, played some good games.
I'm sick and I'm done. We're done. We actually, all my friends, we used to always get together for these games. This year, early on we did because we had hope. Now we don't even get together. We all shut it off at the half. We shut it off. They came within 3 in the second half.
Well, yeah, so, and they just put.
I just.
Hello?
I'm doing okay.
Yes.
Is this the right date or the wrong date?
Golly,
I'll change it.
one more week of class.
one.
Have a week off
Huh?
for spring break and
Oh, you
then
got, good.
like 4 more
Yeah,
weeks.
no.
Got cheat sheets in that green thing.
There's a certificate that they want to sign.
I'm almost at May 4th is graduation.
Oh, okay.
May the fourth be with you.
May the 4th, yeah.
You're
Graduation.
at the right place tonight.
Oh, I know.
Hey,
Yeah, I know.
find that place we're gonna eat.
I told Mike the other day, I wish I could go back 5 years ago and tell that guy.
Like Leo
Doesn't work
said,
like that.
like Leo said in his meeting a couple of weeks ago, you always had a plan, until you didn't have a plan any
So I was
longer.
gonna call them to see if they
Ain't
have.
that right?
What's that?
You always had a plan until you didn't have a plan any longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Or some pretty girl walks by.
Cause there was like a little, like,
Then we're in trouble.
kind of more like a
Where I am.
town type
Got an
thing.
apology from AT&T for their shit yesterday.
You don't want an apology, you want a refund.
Didn't affect mine.
The other option.
Hey, Paul. Okay, how are you? Good, good.
Would be the one who's trying to make an emergency phone call.
Wouldn't that be awful though? That's
Lunch,
true.
I think that would be like a great place to go for lunch, for a crowd.
Oh, there it is.
Hartsville Kitchen.
Everybody-
Massachusetts.
Oh, Nick, man, hey, bud.
How long you be there for?
Got one, Joe.
Tuesday.
What town is it?
I put the finishing touches on the packing and everything tomorrow.
Mike.
Laundry done.
I don't know who's competing.
It's there on the end.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Did you stay up and watch it or sorry to watch it the next day?
Yeah. It's smart, Mike.
The Hartsville Kitchen. Cake.
I was,
Yeah.
watched the first.
It does. Like, hey, Wednesday, I get down here. 'Cause I don't know where these people are. I'm gonna do the, have the phone.
I have a friend who's like,
Well, I
he's
know.
in
I
like
have
for,
a phone meeting 4 nights a week.
they have their own forum he goes on to. I did for a little bit, but then so many people in the rumors are that 75% of players will be gone. That renews already gonna go home, like Florida area, and play there.
Sometimes.
You know, they want, these players want to
That's
win,
once I get
right?
down there, I'll get the service.
They're not a winning program at the moment.
I know which one's gonna get
Gary,
sorry.
Gary, how are you?
You're gonna get Huerto from,
I enjoyed that.
Ribaka,
You probably know them guys.
I don't know if he will, but he'd be the type that I'd see transfer to, because he didn't really, he's not,
I did,
he's
I
not
did
getting
with
better.
that one
You're
came
supposed
from
to get better
California.
as the season goes.
It's hard.
They can't shoot
One thing I just.
Can't shoot threes. Good rebound.
Like, find a sponsor down there.
Yeah.
Must be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my time with that, and listen, get to know people a little bit.
Did he really make that many in a row? I know he was.
I
had a
lucked
good
out
free
this
throw
time. I had
percentage.
covered one for each. The only reason I asked him is because he was burning out there for Lakeland.
Hey, Bernie.
Worked out really good.
Hey, Andrew, congratulations on your 4 years.
Must have got a hold of him and said, here, do it this way.
But they say once a Marine always.
Well, where was it? And then they just.
They also say, so why you re-enlist?
Yeah,
You know,
they
help we can
missed 9
get.
free throws the last game.
Where's my boy on the Gary Ward?
Yeah.
A lot different. I don't know about
But
that.
if you're missing 1-on-1s too, you got another opportunity maybe, yeah.
Anniversary currently, he's sleeping on his, sharing a bed with his best friend. That's had a pretty good job.
Oh, yeah, both games have killed us.
He's good.
I think he could have been on his shoot hand, he's a cellmate.
That's almost cured.
Cal was lucky down in the second half.
Oh.
Get out of your head for a minute.
Blow 5 points.
I keep hoping.
Get out of your head for a minute.
Got about 5 games. I got it.
The only way you can get into it is with a Big Ten tournament. That's your only way.
Hey, I'll come along.
That's right.
You gotta be happy for the women though.
I'm
I
waiting.
mean, I beat Caitlin Clark's team last night. That was-
Okay, how are you?
I watched the first half of that too. I mean, it's getting so late sometimes.
I heard.
Right, yeah, she had 20 points in the first half and 14 in the first quarter.
Oh, Brad's going there.
I had to temper out of the brain or something.
Yeah. But they said, I heard this on the radio, I don't know if it's true. The Indianapolis radio guy said, I tickets for the men's basketball game Wednesday night, $4. There were $4 seats that people were selling. Did you see how many empty spots there were? And for the Purdue game the next night, which is last night, $400 to $500 for just the same seat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
when you're winning, people show up.
You're probably gonna get,
Go
you're
ahead.
probably gonna get busy.
I hope.
That seems like it'd be hard.
I don't mean to.
You have to do it a different way.
All them empty seats and look at them.
You're like coming in a room and
You
change.
have to- This is your,
It's good.
you have to have a pull down here.
Or they're doing.
You have to have a black spot.
Yeah.
And then this kind of broad. And this is narrow and it goes out so broad.
Right, right.
I think it should be longer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've seen somewhere, whole sidewalks in the city street, look like the sidewalk's broken and you look down there and it's all surface chalk.
Oh, I see.
But you do have to be at a certain spot. to
Yeah,
see
you
it,
see
right?
that.
Yeah.
But see, and then this one, regardless where you stand, it's gonna look like that.
Yeah, it'll still have
Except for
that.
the women's, women's game last night.
This
There's
one
a
has to be
3-hour
exactly
wait
If
in
they
line
have that
to
on
get
the
in.
top and you stand on the bottom,
So,
it's gonna
hey,
look like
you
you
know,
got a little ways to go yet, but you're gonna fall.
Yeah, gotcha.
And you got Norwell tomorrow night.
Turns out to
I'm
be
gonna,
a light, yes.
we're gonna try to stream that and watch it,
Sure it's
so
gonna.
Yeah.
that's for state titles.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's why I wanna make it real, it's
Go
simple,
say that Norwell should win that state game.
so that.
It's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
Try to do
I don't know much about the other team other than wrestling.
this way, instead of just making little pieces, and then widen it.
What's
Widen,
the
just make it narrow, and
They
then
are
widen
some,
it, like
do
that.
the.
Yeah, they beat Tucker tomorrow.
They did, that's what it was.
How much they win by?
I just-
14, the number one team in the first game, 14.
I know, I knew that would be right.
It's been remodeled so far this year.
I imagine they're gonna be doing the play-by-play on
And you
the
like
radio.
It's 92.7.
And you want to
We'll have it, but I'm gonna try it.
I made the color, got his big nose.
Hey, Steve.
Elvis child.
Pretty good.
Elvis child.
That's right, I got it.
Called it Elvis
Somebody
Start.
walk,
And how to
makes
cut
Nick
it.
that like that.
It works for
Yeah.
them.
Like batteries in it or something.
Well,
Batteries.
I used to wear it on my motor.
Sure I can.
Gotcha.
I said, sure I can. It took me quite a long time.
Oh, he does work better back then,
But
it still
never
works.
done it. So I sat down and stuff, you know, half an hour.
My Bluetooth,
Put it on the video.
they were $9 on Black Friday. My son picked up a couple pairs of orders, $30 at Walmart. 35 hours.
I'll read the other side.
I love it. The old ones I had to have every 2 hours. Yeah.
So, and then a big guy brought me a tree, evergreen tree, had a top, a mirror, and a
Hi, Joey.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
good and you. And then I put a tree on the bottom.
Brian.
And then it had the that they always have.
I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you, Joey.
Yeah. He said,
Hi, Joey.
Steve. Yeah, that's it. You guys know all the old that's a job right there in itself.
Good, how are you?
Extra.
Big enough to cut like a
And I also had the wings that I could quilt in, so I quilted in.
dip that.
And then.
in.
I said, I hope she likes it now. So definitely, she's pretty good. She's never had
I
a
need to go out what they say.
I'm doing all right.
Don Laser. I use basketball, he's
I'm just a
entertaining.
little lazy.
Pat Hughes, Cubs baseball.
How you doing?
Hall of Fame. Don Fisher probably be Hall of Fame college basketball. He should. Yeah, he should. He's not already. He probably is somewhere.
Oh, really?
I maybe he's just thinking, picture your dad.
There, that's what counts.
That sense of humor, dry or whatever, it's just fun.
You remembered all your games?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember it.
My son-
Comics, right? Oh, no. High school basketball. High school basketball. Oh, yeah. Hoosiers games.
Lines. Every other line is black and the other line is. And, says, that's the.
I was thinking the Comets announcer who did it.
Oh, but that was
Bob
Bob Chase.
He did it forever.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Have to
Oh,
put
I-
me on the trial.
65,
Yeah.
75 years or something like that. I mean,
That's something I used to do, wanted to do when I was a
And
kid,
it's
was
uncommon.
radio announcer.
yeah.
Or DJ. You guys have ugly, but
I used to be able to
have energy. To annoy people.
my dad was a
Still are, aren't you?
We know who the greatest announcer is.
Who's that now? No, never heard of him. He's too low key. I'm giving you a hard time. I just can't stand to see him. Tries to pay for championships. They have been better. They should.
It's the division. It's the division. We're gonna get knocked out.
You get some up and coming teams like.
So we get a manager that knows how to manage the playoffs. I'm not just strictly analytics.
Right. Well, I'm sure they have
We got 14 runs on 10 years. 8 in the first inning.
Gary's number.
I heard she was still alive.
Up there at the Kaser, they sort of was there. I don't already heard. Gary's. I know it's up Leo started there at Decatur.
It was like losing our talk.
I play fantasy baseball, so that's.
I don't do baseball.
Fantasy football. I do too much. US football.
And you can fire her ass up every
I
once
was
in a
doing
while.
one football this year. I couldn't sit.
I've been playing.
Well, we have the mini
How much so early I usually get
I said, yeah, I said, you guys are smart, listening to the noise.
How many coaches you got?
I can't ride. I can ride. I'll be right now, buddy.
Molly did a fantasy football. Put me I know.
I'm not. Yeah, yeah.
The other boys don't see them, so they don't.
Whatever.
Just give me your number.
They were out today. They didn't win. I should fuck, yeah, they must I'm Ryan. Hi, Paul. Good to see you. They won 8-1, but I broke for them. Hardly even started right now. You have another some of the starters.
I almost wore my Bronco jacket. I heard it was baseball season. Yeah. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you? No, they said so I know you'll say that's what I have to I'm still alive.
He talks so bad now.
I thought maybe that's not saying that would be more of an interesting. It really hasn't changed. For some people, I had a friend who was shy when he drank.
I got one right behind you.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I go,
Brad. George? Not Dan. You sat beside me. Dan? Brad. Brad, something like that. A in it. So Ryan. Yeah.
Come here, Andrew.
Good, how you doing? Oh, pretty good.
I mean, you have to tell me, because I guess
I
what
can
you're
at least make it halfway, you know? Hey, Mike, good to see you.
trying something.
Yeah.
Trying something new. You should have a hat on anyway.
See you again, Ryan.
I wear a hat, I just have my fancy shirt on.
I was supposed to,
But I wear a jacket.
yeah. I was supposed to, then.
Oh, uh-huh, yeah. We're leaving the house, but
Although I may have to go.
Easy, Richard.
Just a little.
Like my friend, I've got a box. I mean, it's just one pack. Someday I can ask you to that someday that's a, oh, yes. Now, he's doing better sitting here with
I fly from Dayton to Charlotte.
I wanna get something
Got a
done.
3 hours over in Charlotte. Fly to Dallas,
I've
have
got
3
a
hours
bunch
over in
of
Dallas.
Wisconsin.
Michael Drive.
$100. Yeah. $100.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's a little different, but
120.
you pick up.
Am I
That's
better
what he
off not
said.
asking?
Okay. I
And
will.
it's a long day no matter what, so you might as well just go ahead and do it that way, I think.
Yeah.
Miranda?
I just think it's fun. Because I never knew this country.
That's right.
Not started down. Farther than I want to go. I had a little Thomas.
You good?
I was sharing it, I mean, I had before.
Scary.
Running in the bound. I just looked at him, I said, really?
Yeah, I'll take 2 of them.
His way. Howdy.
I have my hat on.
Oh, okay.
That's a good mood, bad mood kind of thing.
What, the Smiths?
Yeah, I've been there last night.
Yeah, that's what Gary said.
I'm one of the people that pisses off the third car. I just don't feel like people that should. I'm one of the people that piss off the third car. I'm one of the good people that see that kind of purpose.
I told my kids, I said, don't even worry, because I said, there's nobody else around.
That's why people were going.
I'll get better. I'll get better.
I'm scared, and I also rented it. You don't have to have it for 20 years.
Ah!
I go in the fall.
I said, well, would you like to?
You know, a friend of mine, not just like that.
I don't know why you do like that.
You have to talk
Fell in his face.
I don't have it, but I got my friend's ID. He has it. We gotta share it with our human services.
Oh, I got you on Facebook.
This is so dang expensive too. I had it for like 10 years and I quit once and I got so sick and tired. I should be a valued customer. I should get a deal with free customers. I'm a free customer. So I went to DirecTV one of those years and I got cheap, canceled it, went right back to Dish and then got their deal. You wanna play this game? Just switch between my dishes on my house. Adam's well, something or something.
I think everything is streamed, so it's getting.
When I was coming down them stairs, I could hear her like,
And I went from up here, way down here.
You can actually hotspot from your phone.
The battery lights.
For free. Just get a smart TV, or just get a Roku, or whatever you want. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm not paying for it.
As long as it's like.
Now they're doing free.
The house is great today, we just wanna see what it's cheap. And now's a great time to sell, bad time to buy. We talked about selling. A couple months now. One of her daughters is there. She loves it. Day by day, right? Just today the best day ever. That's a lot. Stopped me off guard because she said, work on yourself, I'm gone.
Now you're going back to going back to.
That's when I left. And it was really positive. Great
See, when my husband was on, my husband.
Sometimes it's not what we want it for.
And there was going on there, on that, and had rocks. And so they needed
That's what I started
and
with.
6 solar panels, 4 batteries, and the.
Even if I want to do it for myself, I can't do it. I'm just not.
But it helped me. And so it
I want to control my wife's stuff.
long enough that the batteries lasted, and so
I really control my own.
start up.
It's like I got a friend.
hey, hello everyone, Leo Alcoholic. I'd like to welcome you to the Coldwater Friday night meeting. Help me open the meeting with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Alcoholics Anonymous Fellowship, people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem, help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied to any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. I've asked a friend to read how it works.
Joe, alcoholic.
Joe?
Rarely have we seen a person fail who has really followed their path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our story is disclosed in a general way, what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. Some of these we thought could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnest at our command, we beg of you, be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which was suggested as a program of recovery. 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and a fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct demands to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, what an order, I can't go through with it. Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter 2 agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
I've asked a friend to read the 12 traditions.
That's Steve Burden, I'm grateful sober alcoholics.
Hello, Steve.
Number 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. Number 2, for our good purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as may express himself in our good conscience. Our leaders are the trusted servants, they do not govern. 3, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. 6, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, thus problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and film. 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities.
Thank you, Steve. I've asked another friend to read the promises.
My name's Mike Mahan, I'm an alcoholic.
Hello, Mike.
Promises. The spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. Unless one's family expresses a desire to live upon spiritual principles, we think we ought not to urge them. We should not talk incessantly to them about spiritual matters. They will change in time. Our behavior will convince them more than our words. We must remember that 10 or 20 years of drunkenness would make a skeptic out of anyone. There may be some wrongs we can never fully right. We don't worry about them if we can honestly say to ourselves that we would right them if we could. Some people cannot be seen. We send them an honest letter. And there may be a valid reason or postponement in some cases, but we don't delay if it can be avoided. We should be sensible, tactful, considerate, and humble without being servile or scraping. As God's people, we stand on our own feet. We do not crawl before anyone. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? No. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Another friend has 24 hours.
Yes, today I'm a grateful alcoholic, and I'm George Studebaker.
Hi, George.
February 23rd, AA Thought for the Day. Besides our jobs, our families, our friends, and our sobriety, we have something else which many of us found through AA. That's faith in a power greater than ourselves, to which we can turn for help. Faith in that divine principle in the universe, which we call God, and which is on our side as long as we do the right thing. There have been many days in the past when, if we had taken an inventory, we'd have found ourselves very much in the red, without sobriety, and therefore without jobs, families, friends, or faith in God. We now have these things because we are sober. Do I make one resolution a day let me start that again. Do I make one resolution every day of my life to stay sober? Meditation for today. Love the busy life. It is a joy-filled life. Take your fill of joy in the spring. Live outdoors whenever possible. Sun and air are nature's great healing forces. That inward joy changes poison blood into pure, healthy, life-giving flow. But never forget that the real healing of the spirit comes from within, from the close, loving contact of your spirit with God's spirit. Keep in close communion with God's spirit day by day. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may learn to live the abundant life. I pray that I may enjoy a close contact with God this day and be glad in it. Thank you.
George.
Thanks, George.
And another friend has daily reflections.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm an alcoholic.
All right.
And February 23rd, mysterious paradoxes, such as the paradox of AA regeneration, strength arising out of complete defeat and weakness, the loss of one's old life as a condition for finding a new one. AA, Come of Age, page 46. What glorious mysteries paradoxes are. They do not compute, yet when recognized and accepted, they reaffirm something in the universe beyond human logic. When I face a fear, I am given courage. When I support a brother or sister, my capacity to love myself is increased. When I accept pain as part of the growing experience of life, I realize a greater happiness. When I look at my dark side, I am brought into new light. When I accept my vulnerabilities and surrender to a higher power, I am graced with unforeseen strength. I stumble through the doors of AA in disgrace, expecting nothing from life. and I have been given hope and dignity. Miraculously, the only way to keep the gifts of the program is to pass them on.
Thanks, Ryan.
And a friend of mine's gonna hand out tokens.
I'm Andrew, recovering alcoholic.
Andrew.
Here's the Coldwater meeting. We got tokens for different lengths of sobriety. If you decide you want what we had in your, if this is your first meeting since your last drink, we got 24-hour tokens. Anybody need one? And we got monthly tokens up 1 through 4. Anybody need any more of them? We got 5 months. And
Right behind you.
good to see you.
Come back, Joey.
Then we got them all the way up to 18 months. Well, I guess we got 1 year after. And then we got 18 months. And then we got every year after that. Anybody need one of them? Anybody got any length of sobriety they want recognized?
Bald alcoholic.
Wow.
On Tuesday I had 7 years.
All right.
You need a token?
No, I got one, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, how about you?
What about you, Andrew?
I got one.
Yeah, but how many
Third
years?
class,
How long you got?
40 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, on the 16th, I celebrated 22 years.
That's right.
Steve and I got, as of tomorrow, no, as of Sunday, tomorrow or Sunday, I don't know which one it is, I'll have, 13 years.
All right. Any more? Okay. I cannot.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks,
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks, Joe. I'm struggling to talk, so I ain't gonna read these announcements. There's a bunch of them in there. You wanna look at them, look at them. Pass them around.
I got one to add too.
Oh, yeah. So ain't, huh?
The convention in Fort Wayne is on May 10th, 11th, and 12th, so you can add it to that. And I have tickets for it if anybody's interested in purchasing a ticket tonight.
Give a commercial for it.
What?
So, where is it?
The 42nd Annual Northeast Indiana Convention and 79th Annual Banquet for A&L on Carry the Message, May 10th to the 12th at the Grand Wayne Convention Center in Fort Wayne. A multitude of speakers, a banquet, and a dance tournament and social afterwards. And 2 leads on Friday, 5 on Saturday, with a red ball session, and also the final lead is on Sunday morning at 10:30.
And a golf tournament on the Friday before.
What's
the cost of that?
Oh,
Speakers only is $20 before the 26th of April, $24 at the door for Saturday night only, which is the banquet and the speaker, is $55. That includes the dance and the social. And then for all sessions, including the banquet and everything, is $60.
Wow.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
And there's hotels on there that you can, the Hilton's 100 and, what is it? $129 a night. That's not too bad.
thank you, Steve.
You bet. But I do have tickets.
Yeah, and I just thought of one too, that mini conference, over in Alexandria. It's May 4th.
May 4th.
I'm gonna order tickets tomorrow. Anybody wants any, let me know. I'll order you some. us guys, bunch of us guys go over there already and pretty good time. It's a all-day deal. Steve's been there with us.
See, it's Central Indiana Mini Conference.
Yeah. Did you get a flyer on that, Steve?
Not yet.
I ain't either. You ain't gonna get one. For some reason, I never got one either, and there's other people that has, so I don't know what's going on.